Hello everyone, my apologies for not posting my usual video for the Facebook group The Mixed Media Emporium on Sunday. I've had a hectic couple of weeks. As you know, I've been dog sitting for Toby whilst my son Alex has been away. We've also had a manic weekend as well because our youngest son Sam has moved from Nottingham to Chester to do a year-long industrial placement. So we've had to up sticks and move him into his new university accommodation. So of course, you know, all of our weekend was tied up doing that. He's really settled, by the way, so you know everything is going well. But I want to do another recycle, repurpose, reuse stroke use your scraps challenge, and for anybody who wants to follow along with our prompts and challenges, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group in the description box below, so please do feel free to come along and join us. But I want to use some more of these beautiful fabric scraps here. They've been sitting on my desk. Now I received this, it's a brooch kit, and my friend Eugene sent me this, and it's come from a lady called Tori of Cool Kooky Creatures. I'll leave the link to her her YouTube channel in the description box below. But this is the kit that I received, and there is just a ton, an absolute ton of fabrics here, so I want to use some more of these. Now I don't want to do a brooch. I've decided that I'm going to make a paperclip embellishment. I've got these colourful paper clips here. Haven't decided what colour I want to use yet because that will depend on which fabrics I choose. But just for your reference, these paper clips here are 2 inches in length. So I'm going to be using one of these. So I just need to decide what fabrics I want to use. I'm going to use this blue piece of cotton fabric here. It's quite a heavyweight cotton twill, I think it is. So I think that will work. I think I might use this blue paper clip here as well, undecided. But what I do need to do is just trim this down. As you can see, it's just a little bit too wide. I'm just going to take my fabric scissors and just take a small amount off each side. I'm just eyeballing this. We'll do the same on this side here as well. I'm just pulling it taut with my fingers. Oh, let's see if I can do this straight without it being wonky. That's not too bad. I absolutely love this ruffled edge at the bottom, so I want to try and keep that. And then how do I do this? Now, I just want to put this under and then just twist it round. There we go. That's perfect. Let's make sure that I've got rid of any of these wrinkly bits here, but that's going to be about right. Next thing I need to do is choose some fabrics that I want to use to decorate my piece. Now I have got an absolute ton of fabrics here, really pretty fabrics within this kit that would work really well. I've also pulled out some from my own stash as well. I've got this really old jelly roll kit, and it just has the most gorgeous designs. I mean, just look at this. And this one here I particularly love as well. I've got no idea what the name of this is. I bought it locally in a haberdashery shop several years ago. I've also got some Liberty fabrics as well in my stash, so you know I could use some of these. I mean, these are just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just going to go away now and just play with my fabrics and see what I can piece together. I mean, just look at this one here. Isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? So you can see that some of these would need ironing if these were the ones that I decided to use. So I'm just going to have a play. Decision made. I want to use this fabric here, so I'm just going to cut the border off the bottom. I've got my really sharp fabric scissors here, and how long does this need to be? So I need to cut that about there. See if I can get this relatively straight. We are. I think that's about the right size. Now what I want to do before I do anything else is just glue this together to stop it sliding. So I'm just going to add some of my glue stick. This is just a regular Scotch glue stick, so let's stick that down first. And then I'm just going to add some glue over the back of this as well, just to hold it in place. So let's pop this on about there, I think. Some green thread in my stash, and this is the perfect colour, so we'll have a piece of this. I want to make a knot in the end. Now the way that I do it is just pop my needle onto my piece of thread like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, wrap it round 4 times and just pull it through. So that's my knot. Of course that's a bit too long, so I can just snip a piece of that off. I think I keep going out of camera shots, so my apologies for that. So let's start off with this. Let's try and hide that knot underneath. Go on you, under you go. And I'm just going to stitch all the way around. Just taking my time and just enjoying the process. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and just sit down on my sofa now and just stitch all the way around the edge. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful colour? I've stitched all around the edge of my fabric. It's not particularly neat. That's what it looks like on the back. But there we have it. I think with slow stitching, it does not have to be perfect. And that's what I like about this, because my stitching is not so good. Now I've got myself a dark blue piece of thread. It's this thread here, which is, let's have a look. This is an anchor embroidery thread. And I'm just going to go all the way along now, backwards and forwards, in the same way that I did with the card that I made last week. I enjoyed making that so much. Oh my goodness me, I can really see myself going down a rabbit hole with these. But you know me, I like to try lots of different crafts. But as I've said, I'll leave the link to Tori's channel in the description box below, where you can see how she made the brooch that was what this kit was intended for. Of course, I've got, whoops, I've dropped all my bits. Of course, I've got these kilt pins here that was part of the brooch kit. Thank you so much, Eugene, for sending this to me. I've had so much fun so far with this this beautiful kit, and also it's, you know, tempted me to pull out some of my beautiful fabrics that I have in my stash already. So I'm just going to go backwards and forwards, and whoops, and I'm just going to go in the same way that I did with my card. I'm just going to go in sort of like an S shape. Now that I've got to the end of my row, I'm just going to leave a bit of a gap, and I'm just going to come back in the opposite direction. Just like so. I love how these threads coordinate as well. I'm trying to keep my colours to a minimum and work tone on tone, which is a scheme I really like. This is what I've got so far. I really like how that looks. It's actually quite neat on the back now as well. You can see that I've also got all of these threads, and I'm just going to cut those off. Now I wish that I could find the little embroidery scissors that I got from Your Creative Studio, because they would have been absolutely perfect for this, but they are buried on my desk somewhere. I saw them earlier and now I cannot for the life of me find them. So I'm just going to cut these threads off here. A lot tidier, isn't it? So that's what it's like on the front, and that's what it's like on the back. Now I want to create myself a focal image, and I'm opting for a heart. Now I've pulled out 2 more pieces of fabric in the same line from the same jelly roll. I've got these 2 here, and in all honesty, I'm not sure which one I want to use. What I will do is cut a small piece of both of these off. Let's take off that edge. I don't need much, but I need to make sure I get it in the right orientation. So let's have a look. How much do I need to cut off? So we'll just cut a piece here. That's more than I need, but that's okay. And then I'll cut a piece from this one here as well, the same size. And then I've also pulled out a piece of bond web, fusible webbing, and I'm just going to take a piece off to my ironing board and glue it onto the back of each of these fabrics. Doing this, always make sure that you put some baking parchment over the top before you start ironing, because otherwise all the glue is going to stick to the base of your iron. These are both stuck down now, and I can cut around these. Let's just trim them into a square again. I need to cut these into a heart shape. I'm going to fold in half, so you need to make sure that you've got your fabric in the right orientation. And how do I want to do this? I'm just going to freehand a heart. So that's the first one. You see, it's a bit too big, but that's okay because I can now go in and trim it. I've got my basic shape. It's just too fat. So let's try again. And I can just keep going until I get the right size. You see, I really like that. Let's try this one here. Does it matter which way up it goes? I don't think it really does. I like the shape of that one there, so I'm going to use that as a template. And you see, I think that one stands out more than this one here. This one here just seems to blend in the background, so I'm going to stick with this one, and I'm sure that I can find a use for that on something else. I do think that I'm just going to go a little bit smaller. I've trimmed my heart until I was happy with it, taken it off to the ironing board as well, so that's nice and flat. I'm going to keep these pieces here as well because, you know, I'm sure that I can do something with these. Also, look, I've got this one here. That one is intact. This one isn't, but I'm sure that I can do something with these as well. Now I think I'm going to secure my heart with a button. We've got some embellishments in this pack that came with the kit, and let's have a look and see whether any of these are going to be any good. I think that one's going to be a little bit too big. We've got that cute yellow one there. I like that. And we've also got this one here. It's got to be that one, hasn't it? I think that is a really good contrast. I'm going to use a little bit of glue again to just hold this down where I want it, just to make sure that it doesn't slip and slide all over the place. About there, I think. Yeah, that will do fine. So let's just put the lid back on the glue. And then I've got this pale blue embroidery floss here. And I'm using this because I want to add a blanket stitch down both sides as well. And I don't want to keep introducing too many colours. So I'm going to use this for both sewing on the button and for using for blanket stitch down the side. So I'm just going to come in from the back. I'm hoping actually that this needle is not going to be too thick to go through. Oh, here we go. We've gone from the top. I always find it really difficult to know where I'm aiming for, but that's okay. So let's go in through the bottom and then through both sides, and just make sure that this button is attached. I'm just going to go one more time as well, and then secure it at the back, and then I'm just going to do a blanket stitch as I've said. And because I'm going over this twice as well, I think it will add some nice texture. It'll be nice and raised. Make sure that I've got that on straight before I add my final stitch. There we have it. And then I'm just going to leave that as it is and go straight over here and start doing a blanket stitch. Oh, in fact, actually, I'm ahead of myself. What I need to do, let me stop there. Let me undo this. What I'm going to do is tie a knot off here because I want to add something to the back to cover up my stitching. I nearly forgot about that. Gosh, I'm racing ahead. Right, okay, so let's just tie this off first. Up around to form a knot, and just come up through here and snip that. And then I've cut myself a piece of blue felt which I want to attach to the back just to hide all of that stitching, just to tidy it up. And then I want to add my blanket stitch. My goodness me, here's me being impatient. Let's just cut off these threads again, just to keep it neat and tidy. And I'm just going to add glue again, just to hold this down. Trying not to stretch it. And hopefully this will just keep my back really neat and tidy. There we go. And then I can start adding my blanket stitch. I'm just going to start in the top corner here, and I'm going to hide my knot inside. So let's just make sure that that's tucked in. And I'm going to come back in the same place that I started. Whoops, I'm wrapped around the beads of my bracelet, and then I'm just going to pop my needle through here, and I'm just going to go all the way down. There we are. And see if I can get this in a reasonably straight line. I've got to the end and I've just tied this off, and I'm just going to thread my needle through here now and just try and hide that that thread. And then I'm just going to start again down the other side. Oh, come on you, this is really difficult to get through. So I can now snip that off. I wish I could find those little embroidery scissors. I know they're here somewhere. So I'm just going to cut another piece of thread now, and I'll do exactly the same thing down the other side. But isn't that looking pretty? That looks so cute. So that's what it looks like front and back. You know, my stitching is not perfect at all. In fact, it's decidedly wonky, but you know, I don't think this is the perfect type of project. Now, my last thing I want to do is add this pom-pom trim, which was also included in the kit along the bottom. I'm just going to add some art glitter glue just to hold that in place. So let's put a line of this along the bottom. Let's put my pin in before it clogs up, and I'm just going to pop that down. And then I think I might add a line of stitching along the bottom as well, but I'm just going to clip that into place. Oh, come on, this is really fiddly. Got a whole bunch of these clip doodads. Let's just pop a few of these on just to hold that in place whilst it dries. Just stop everything from unraveling. You see, it's starting to unravel here already, but I can fix that once it's glued down. Got a few loose threads here. As you can see, I'm just going to very carefully cut those off. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue on my finger just to stop that from fraying any further. So let's grab a little dab of glue, only a tiny bit, I don't need much. And I'm just going to put that on the end. Perhaps I need a bit more than that. Don't be stingy, Nina. Come on. So we'll just pop that there. Of course, that will dry clear. I'm going to do the same on the other end as well. I don't want that fraying and spoiling it. Now I've decided to leave this here. I could have added a line of stitching just along the bottom, but I've decided not to. I think it would be overkill. I'm so happy with how that's turned out, and it was such a therapeutic process stitching it. So that's what it looks like on the back. I love these little pom-poms. They look so cute. Of course, my heart is dimensional, and because I've added the bond web as well, then hopefully that will stop it fraying too much. I'm really happy with that. And I just think it's going to be such a cute piece to add to the side of a journal. Of course, I haven't got a journal handy, but let me just fold over some paper. And you can see that it can just tuck onto the side of a journal page, and isn't that going to look pretty? So that's it. I'm leaving the video here. That is my interpretation of use your scraps, using some of the scrap pieces that were left in the kit from the card that I made last week. Of course, this was the project I made for last week's slow stitching prompt in the Facebook group. Loved how this turned out, and this is my second slow stitched project. So if you've enjoyed today's video, as always, I'd very much appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know what you think in the comments below, but most importantly, thanks for watching. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.